drive mode transmission. And I don't know why I have to do it in the vertical orientation, but that's what it's telling me. Maybe it'll let me do it sideways. I don't know. We'll find out. And I hope this is going out because it's the first time doing it, and sometimes they don't work as advertised. So we'll see how it works. We'll see if we can keep going live. I don't know if anybody's there, but it doesn't matter. Still doing it. Yeah, it's probably good because the sun's out and the orientation is weird. I got shadows. Probably all the wrong things to do, but that's how it works when you're an amateur. All right, it's Lumpy with Fool's Paradise Fishing. And remember, it's called fishing, not catching for a reason. It's a warm, sunny day here in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm getting the boat ready to go to Alaska. And it'll be pretty exciting. The plan for this boat, if you haven't heard already, is that we're going to take it up to Alaska, the Kenai, and we're going to fish coho on the Kenai. And so when you're fishing coho on the Kenai, coho salmon, it's really good to have a boat. Shore, last year I tried shore casting, didn't work too well. You can't really floss for them, not like sockeye. And then, but you want to put them out there with quick fish or the hard baits. So these are the type of things. This is a lemon drop, K13, and I got the next size, which is a K15, and the next size, which is a K17. So we'll be trying all these out. You can throw some scent on it, maybe wrap it. I don't know if I'm going to do that much, but we'll do some videos on it and maybe live stream since it's right in the middle of town. So I did chat GPT to figure out how to do live stream. It's like talk for an hour. It's like I can't talk for an hour. I mean, I'm a naval aviator, and how do you know when your date with the naval aviator is have over? How do you know when your date with the naval aviator is half over? When they say enough about me, let's talk about my airplane. If I had a rim shot thing, I'd do it, but I don't. So that's how you know I can talk. But even an hour, that's a bit much. I'll ramble on and we'll see what's going to happen. I was going to do it last week, but we ran into some technical issues and time stuff. So I've got the boat painted, and as you see, it's a 1976 Sea Nymph 12R Blue Water. It's only 13 feet. It's weird looking at the ads from that time, 12, 14, 16, and they're all about 6 to 12 inches longer than what they advertise, but that's what they do. So don't know. Bought it from a nice old gentleman who's a friend of my wife's uncle. And I really wanted his trailer that the boat was on because the other boat that I have in the garage, the Lucky Bag, this trailer was too big for the garage. So I'm going to throw this little boat on the trailer, take it up to Alaska, probably get rid of the trailer since I have another trailer up there that would better fit this boat. And then, that'll defer some of the costs of moving everything up there, since gas isn't cheap right now. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at doing. Got some exciting things associated with it because it came with a bunch of stuff and he wasn't very organized. And so when I looked inside the boat, it was just like gear everywhere. And in the Navy, we have this phrase called gear drift. So it's like, oop, yep, gear drift. So that's how it works. And that's why I named it gear drift. Once I get up to Alaska and get it registered with the state and get me a whole registration number, then I'll go online and buy the name, which I think I'm going to put in 2 words and throw it on the stern, and then get the whole registration numbers and throw those on in white. And as you can see, we're next to the road. So anyway, it came with some pretty funky stuff. It came with these 2 small stadium seats, and I'll take those up with me, but I don't know who's going to use them. So, and the guy who I bought this from was a retired Air Force parachute rigger. And so he still has parachute rigger things. I mean, these little attachments, this is what you see in the military. So I was pretty surprised to see it, but it came with a seat throw. It's got a couple of oars, one life jacket. Yeah, I'll take it on the boat. We'll see what happens. There's a couple of holes here. That's where I'm going to put the one of the rod holders. It came with a fire extinguisher. It's still there, and it's still pumped up. So we'll see if it works. I'm going to take all these up there because I'm not a big hard bait fisherman down here. So we'll try it up there. And this is how you know it's old. This is one of the rod holders, but I'm taking it. I'm going to use it. So it's a classic. It came with, yep. Let me put these over here for a second. These are the rods. But it came with this red seat. So, and that's a classic. And it came with an attachment so it doesn't roll over and die, or I won't roll out of it. And then bought some rope in case I need it. But one of the things we're going to do today is we'll put the star on. And here's the white star. And we're going to put that right here somewhere. And then I got online and bought the Sea Nymph, the classic design from the 70s. I got it in red, so I'll put it on the blue, but there's a white center, and that'll do good. I already got the other side done, and I'll measure that out again. Oh, there's the tape measure. And I'm doing a cardinal sin where I'm putting my butt to you. And the star is about 6 inches in, so that's, and about 4 inches down. No, about 3 inches down. So 6 inches in, 3 inches down. So we'll sit here and throw that on, and that'll give us something to do instead of just listen to me ramble and point out stuff. This is a piece of rubber which will go right back here, and that'll be for when the engine goes on, and that'll help dampen it out. And then this is, you know, the classic peel it off and then stick it on. See if we can get it. Last time the star wouldn't peel off, but this time it did. So we'll lay it down here, trying to keep everything from sticking to it. And then it's 6 inches in. All right, and then about, oh, I remember, I was putting the line right on the sheet metal bend. There we go. And it's perfect except it's backwards. So let's try this again. Line right where the sheet metal bend is, 6 inches in. All right, there we go. And I missed the rivet, which was the plan. And this is a sheet metal riveted boat. It's not a welded boat, which those are heavy. And for what I'm doing, I don't need one. I had a welded boat at one time, a Luma Weld Adventure, but it was too heavy. Couldn't, same thing, hard to get in and out of the garage. I like to fish by myself, so I like to have something that's easy to do. And there we go. Got one star on. And I'm sure the people think, are you from Texas? No, no, not from Texas. It's my bicentennial boat, my 1976 Sea Nymph. So we'll put the Sea Nymph on now. Sorry, it's hot out. I got to stay hydrated. I'm old. And I'll measure again on the other side to make sure they kind of look balanced. And it's right below the bend, about 18 inches in. Is that right? Yep, 18. So we'll do the same thing. Sit down here. None of this is hard. I'll pull up the spray paint so that you can see what it looks like. None of it was that hard to do. There's lots of YouTube videos, so I'm not the first one who does it. Or, excuse me, I'm not the first one who's done it. But not a lot of people have done it on these older boats. I mean, this boat's 50 years old now. And so we're going to take it up and fish it. And if you've been up in Alaska, there's a lot of old boats. I mean, yeah, the guides have the latest and greatest, but when you watch some of these old timers out fishing, they're fishing the boat like they bought in the 70s and 80s. And they know how to fish because they've been up there their whole lives. So a friend of mine's got an 80 or 90 something Sea Sport, 24 foot. And he runs that thing out the Montague Island from Seward, and that's a long run. So this one is another one that, come on, come off. Supposed to come off. There we go. Oh, and the staple. Yep. They came stapled, which is like, why are you stapling it? And then let's see if we can't get the 18 inches in without spilling my water. I didn't think I could talk for even 20 minutes without water. So 18 inches is about right here. And we're putting it right on, right side up, right on the line. Let's see if we can't get it vertical, get it so it's somewhat straight. Don't want any air bubbles, so that's why I'm working it. Make sure we get all the air bubbles out. No air bubbles. Yeah, that's kind of level. No air bubbles. He had a later edition, like the 80s edition, Sea Nymph on it, which was big black letters, and I'm like, no, don't want that. I want this. It's coming off pretty good, and it went on fabulous. That's looking good. No air bubbles. There's little, nicks and stuff. The boat, again, 50 years old, so some nicks and things. And there we go. Mission accomplished. Yeah, so not very exciting, but it's exciting for me. And then we'll pull out some things here from the bins. Show you what we're going to be doing. Show you what we did and show you what we're going to be doing. So I did a lot of masking. So you do spend a bunch of masking tape. So this is the Rust-Oleum Automotive Primer, self-etching primer, which you can get at any hardware store. I got a local hardware store in town called Washougal Hardware. Famous, if you didn't know about Washougal, it's famous because there's a river here, and as you're coming down the Columbia, it's the first river after the Wind River, which is way up there. It's up past the Bonneville Dam. There's not a whole lot of rivers in between the Wind River and the Washougal. So what the people were told, if you wanted to go to Oregon, yeah, you just went down to the Willamette and turned left, or you took the Barlow Trail and came over the hill. If you wanted to go north into British Columbia, and because everything south was Oregon territory, then you had, once you saw the Washougal and Reed Island, then you jumped off there and went around Fort Vancouver. So that's what the Washougal is famous for. And there's a Native American tribe, I think the Klickitat up there. But anyway, so self-etching primer, as you saw, power wash to get all the grease off, or if you haven't seen yet, you will soon. But the sequence of events was power washed, get the dirt and grime off, then wiped it down with acetone, since I had it, and then masked it up and put the self-etching primer, which is what people recommended. And then once that was done, I did two things. So I had this Rust-Oleum metallic, and I had it because I was using it to paint on the trailer. As you can hear, it's empty. And so I did the stern in that color, so got rid of that. And then bought the Rust-Oleum acrylic enamel because you need something to protect against the dings and dents. And I'm probably going to spray some more acrylic, clear acrylic on it. And this is gloss deep blue. And I just chose that. I probably should have got the metallic again because it does look pretty good. And then got the acrylic enamel 2x coverage. Does this have the 2x coverage? Yeah, both of them are the 2x coverage ones. And this is the gloss cherry red, because who doesn't want a cherry red something, boat, plane, car. And it bonds to metal, plastic, and more. But since I put the primer on, it bonds to the primer really well. And then you really want to buy the Rust-Oleum trigger. So it just got a little clamper, and it clamps right onto the top, and it's a lot easier to pull that trigger. So I did have the metal scraper. You don't want to take I had a little soft brass brush that I scraped off some things. There was a bunch of old stickers on it from when it was registered in Michigan in the past. And I kept one of them. If you can't see it, the 1981, I thought that was cool. And so I kept that one on there. It's the only one that was, excuse me, really good shape. So I kept that one. And then, of course, masking tape. Masking tape's expensive these days. So I do have paint left over. So it's going to go with me up to Alaska. If the Canadians don't balk at it, I'm not throwing it away. Luckily, tomorrow is, what do you call it? Household hazardous waste day, or Saturday is. So I'll be taking all the empties and other stuff up there. I also got that funky black stuff that you see the commercials where they slap it onto the leak and it stops the leak. And so I got two 16-ounce cans of that. I'm going to paint it on the bottom, but that's going to be a separate thing. I'm not doing it right now. It's too hot. The sun beating on it makes it too hot, so not doing it. And so that's what we did. And then what we're going to do, that's trash. I got to throw that out. I'm not made for television, as you can see. So this thing is tubing because it rains up there. And so I got a bilge pump. I had one in a different boat, didn't throw it away. So also had a battery and a battery holder from a different boat, didn't throw it away. So now it's all going in here. So we'll put the bilge pump in when we get up there because I don't need it rattling around. On the way up there, the hose will come over. While I was at a local store, they had red, white, and blue of these things. So that way I can throw like the quick fish into these things and line and some other things because there's no storage on the boat. So you can't do any of that. And then here's a classic rod holder. I'm trying to think who makes it. A classic Scotty rod holder, Canadian company. They make all sorts of good stuff. And of course, you got to have something to hold the coffee cup. So that's what this is for. And I'll put those on after we get up there because the Alcan can be rough. Oops, sorry. Yeah, noise. Still learning. First live stream. And so, yeah, I got the switch. And I got to hook it up to the battery. I didn't bring the battery and the battery, marine battery cover out because those are heavy. And there's no need to be dragging those around. And so, as I was saying before, I meandered off and got distracted. Started out with power wash, then got the brass brush with the just electric drill, cleaned off some things, a little bit of rust, stickers that were kind of lingering around, and so cleaned that all off. Then took some acetone. Choose what you want to wipe down. It picks up the dust and other things, so it cleaned off the metal surface. Then taped it up and painted it with the self-etching primer, and then put the blue on first, and then the red, and a lot of masking. And I will say the green bullfrog, while I was doing this, I was simultaneously painting the house, which was an effort. And don't know if I'll do both at the same time ever again. And so the bullfrog worked really well with this metal. It doesn't work so well with houses. So I just used the regular cheapo blue masking tape for painting the house, and I just used the green bullfrog for this because other people who have done these projects have said it comes off real clean. As you can see, the line is really nice. It does keep it nice and clean. Now, if you mask straight and level, then it probably comes out spectacular. But I was in the and there's an old phrase in the Navy where the enemy of perfection is good enough and the enemy of good enough is perfection. So I was somewhere closer to the good enough spectrum. And so as you can see in the sunlight, it's good enough. And I got overspray on the trailer, don't care, because it'll help prevent the rust. And anyway, so this trailer is an easy loader that came from Idaho. and the guy I bought it from down in Oregon. Oregon doesn't, if it's under 16 feet, Oregon, or 18, something like that, Oregon doesn't require a tag or a title. So of course, this one time had a tag. There's still a Idaho tag on it and a title. But when I bought it, he didn't have a title. He's in Oregon. He didn't care. And no one has bothered me in Washington, although you're supposed to have it. Alaska, you have to have a tag and title. However, they're used to people with these older things bringing them up, so they have a way, a provision for you to get a title. There, I can't find a VIN, but there is a number. So we'll see if that number suffices for um, the the vehicle identification number. Now the boat has its whole number right there, and I didn't paint blue over it. I put a little rectangle around, or I put the self-etching primer and I covered it up with tape, painted it that metallic blue, and then peeled the tape off so now you can see it. I mean, it's clear as day. And then I got my little Fool's Paradise sticker there. If you didn't know, I have stickers. I may be giving them out. Oh, and in the middle of this, like and subscribe. And the reason for this is I'm not trying to make any money, but if you people like and subscribe and I get 1,000 subscribers and you watch it for 4,000 hours a month, then it does get monetized. And if I make any money, it's going to Navy Marine Corps Relief. And I've said that up front when I started this, but I didn't really understand how to get people to subscribe and whatever. And then I went into Chat GPT and said, hey, solve this problem for me, which it did. And then now I'm going to tell you to like and subscribe. And I'm going to tell you why. And if I make any money, I'll just put it on the, I'll do a segment where I talk about, hey, made this money, here's to check the Navy Marine Corps Relief. So do me a favor, help out the veterans. Navy Marine Corps Relief, I'll do the 30-second commercial. They help the active duty sailors who are having some monetary issues. You know, sometimes they get married when they're young, and they're the way the Navy, you know, they don't say it out loud, but the way it's kind of configured, you know, you need to be like an E5 petty officer, second class petty officer before you get married. So that's when you make enough money so you can be married. And then, you know, for officers, it's usually about lieutenant. I got married when I was a lieutenant JG, and that was kind of tight. But I'd saved a bunch of money because I was an ensign and I wasn't doing anything but working. And so, and I would tell people I escaped the farm for the Navy, and they would look at me like, what, you know, were you working there? I said, working on the farms 18 hours a day, 7 days a week almost, especially in the summer. So the Navy was less, but not by much. The military is, you work hard in the military. Maybe not the Air Force. I don't know. I wasn't in the Air Force. All you Air Force guys, don't be mad at me. You know, you had a great gig, so enjoy it, brag about it. And so, yeah, that's where we are today. And we're taking off to go up to Alaska on the road trip. We're going to drive the Alcan because that's, you know, there's two ways to get to Alaska. We can either take the ferry, which is expensive because the blue truck's like 22 feet long, and this is another 20. So that's 42 feet, and you pay the ferry by the foot. And it's like, I can tell you right now, no matter what the price of gas is on the Alcan, it is way cheaper than taking it on the ferry. It'll be like a third of the price to a quarter of the price because it's expensive. Because not only are you paying for the vehicle, but you're paying for yourself, even if you're just camping out on the deck. And that's the other thing. It's a 3-day ride, and then you're going to be camping. I mean, even if I just went to Haines and then drove the rest of the way, it's still spendy. And I know that because my sister-in-law, the burly woman of the north who lives in Juneau, she does the ferry now. She does it every year because she's older than me and she doesn't want to drive the Alcan. It's too much of a workout. And so, and she gets a private room on the ferry and enjoys her time, her trip. And she's paying 2,500 to $3,000 just from Juneau. So, I mean, if I had to go all the way to like Homer or Whittier, it's going to be spendy from Anacortes. So I don't do it. I may take the ferry down from Homer to Kodiak just because I want to do it once. I've done the Did it a couple times with the whole family, Haynes to Juneau and Skagway to Juneau, just for fun. And then a couple years ago, I had to take my sister-in-law's vehicle back because she was out halibut fishing out of Homer, and then fell. And I think I told that story, but I'll tell it again because I still got 8 minutes. I said I was going to go for a half hour, but that's about it. Where she signed up for a charter. It was going to be a good day. Went out there, and they from Homer they go out. There's 3 islands. I keep forgetting their name. That are right out the mouth of the Cook Inlet as you're heading around. If you went all the way around, you'd eventually end up in Seward or in the Kenai Fjords National Park. But that's a good spot for coho and halibut. A little too far for me. I'm a retired Navy, and I'm not going blue water anymore. That's someone else's gig. And so, but she went out there, and when they got anchor set up as a good day in the sense that they're not very high tides. However, they did have some pretty good seas, 5 to 7 feet. And even though it was a catamaran, it kind of did a jerky roll, and she slipped and fell, hit the edge of something, and twisting while she's falling, had a spiral fracture of her femur. So she's now on the floor in pain, but as long as she wasn't moving, she was fine. And they did the classic Alaska thing. Hey, do you mind if we keep fishing? And she's like, as long as you don't move me, I'm fine. And so they limited out in 30 minutes. But my question is, if she touches the rod, someone can reel it up for her, and it's her fish. But whatever, they're probably worried about fishing game, and so rightfully so. I don't fault them for that. But she they did refund her money on the fee, and they had some insurance to kind of cover some things, like I forgot what they covered. But anyway, it was the fishing company was good. So I was pretty impressed with them. So I'm pretty happy with the folks out of Homer. I don't since I have my own boat, I don't go fishing out of I don't. The only time I use guides is like drifting a river. So I'll go with Felix Strum and his company there to go drift the Kasilof because he knows how to catch kings, and that's the only way you can get them. I see people catching kings, casting from the shore, but most of the time they're jacks, and it's really hard to reel them in out of the current, especially when they're 20 pounds. The drift boat, you can drift back with them, and that way you're not putting so much pressure on them. But reeling in from the shore, I've hooked into a bunch of kings, but I haven't got them ashore yet. So that's my goal. One of these days, I'm going to reel a king in on the Kasilof from the beach. People do it. I haven't done it yet. I've caught a number of kings fishing with Felix and his company. So yeah, Felix Drum. I'll throw a link down if I can. Since this is my first live stream, I'm still learning how to do it. But that's what we're looking forward. So we're gonna load everything up, throw everything onto, yeah, 4 minutes. I said I'm only doing a half hour. I don't know this thing about going all day is, but yeah, I'm sure I don't even know if this is still working. It's probably dead. It is. I'm probably talking to myself, or you're sitting there listening barely because the camera's so far away. So we'll wrap it up since the thing died. I guess I got to get a longer one. Oh no, it's still going. Perfect. So I know it'll work for a half hour. That's awesome. And so we'll wrap this up. But here's the plan. So leaving next week, gonna hook everything up. Got to take a generator up, taking a bicycle up. Gonna take some dry food because it's a lot cheaper down here. Take the boat and take the 2 new rods and reels, which are new to me. I think I told this story before. So these are 2 Lamiglas rods, nice ones, an 8 foot and a 7'9", and they don't. The info was on the cork. It's not up here. They didn't put the thing on. They call them garage sale rods, where um, they just had them in the back room and forgot about them or something, or who knows. But these were made in 2015, and they still have the old kind of brownish color. And a lot of the early Lamiglas rods I have are that brown. I got a couple of green ones too, and my favorite one is the Kenai 7'9" Kenai Special. That's the one I fish on the Kasilof for kings because it's got a lot of backbone and it's a 40-pound rod. But I haven't caught anything yet, so I'm still working on that. But I'm going to troll with these because as you can see, one's a 40-pound and one's a 25. I doubt if I'm going to catch a 40-pound coho, but you know, always want to be prepared. And then I think I might take him out trolling for kings in Homer and Seward, and definitely for coho. But so we'll be throwing these rods in. I got another rod, and then we'll be throwing all this stuff, some of the paint, and we'll hook everything up and head on out early one morning next week. And then we'll start doing some shorts. I'm not going to film. Nobody, you know, if you want to drive the Elcan, that's someone else's YouTube channel. But, you know, I'll show you some of the spots we're going to stop at and things like that. But I'm looking forward to this, and this is looking good. I'm probably going to get some looks at me because most of the boats are either brand new or they're old and dinged up. And so I'm going to bring an old boat that looks good in the bicentennial colors. And so it should be a good time. And I'm looking forward to it. And you guys will come along when we go fishing for it. And then we'll see what happens. And again, do me a favor, like and subscribe, help out the Navy Marine Corps Relief so that they can help junior sailors kind of get through financial periods. A lot of times a family member dies, and so they give them either a loan or a grant to fly back, mother, father, grandfather, or grandmother. And then if they're, you know, sometimes, a lot of times, or sometimes, I shouldn't say a lot of times, but they'll get married, have a kid quick, and they're too junior. They're like a seaman recruit or seaman apprentice or something, and can't afford the kid. So they provide them with uh, diapers, gear, baby equipment, strollers, grants, loans, things like that. And they do a big analysis to figure out what fits. And so I've always donated Navy Marine Corps Relief, and then donated to them, donated supplies to them, helped them out. A friend of mine, she's a big wig in it. She was running the DC office for a while out there at the Bethesda Naval Hospital. And so I promised her, I said I would do this because I'm retired. Uh, I'm not going to make enough money from YouTube to significantly enhance or degrade my life. The retirement from the military is good enough. And plus, you know, I can stay at bases. The Coast Guard base at Kodiak is, you know, now I'm going to steer off Diverge is awesome because it's a 24/7 base, and their galley is open all the time. Last time I went there, it was like $2.50 breakfast. Can't beat that. Now I'm rubbing it in. So, um, and then you get lots of discounts. In Alaska, it's like free plates. I don't pay anything for my license plates in Alaska. Alaska really takes care of its veterans, which is why I'm a resident up there. And I got to get back up there because I just came home for family reunions, blah, 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 and my daughter's engagement party. So I got that going for me. So yeah, let's wrap it up. Like and subscribe. Help me with Navy Marine Corps Relief. And you watching, you don't even have to pay money. Just watch, just subscribe, and then YouTube will pay us through advertisers, and then we will all donate to Navy Marine Corps Relief. And then if I make any money, there's lots of YouTube videos that explain how you make money, but I'll just show you where the money's going. I'm open, as we say in the Navy, open kimono. You can see whatever you want to see as far as monetary goes. Yeah, so there you go. And there you go, half pass. That's all I can do. I'm already running out of steam. So if you like the content, like and subscribe. We'll donate some money to Navy Marine Corps Relief. And we're heading up to Alaska because fishing is hot. 200, almost 200,000 sockeye came up after the latest rainstorm, so I'm itching to get back. But I got to be here on Sunday. So as soon as that's over, I'll be on. Oh, and then I got a crown, you know, probably too much personal information, as we say, TMI. And so in the military. And so as soon as that's done, I'll be heading north at great speed so that I can get up there and get fishing, and then we'll get some more fishing videos rocking, because it's looking like another big year. Maybe not the 4.5 million they're saying, but definitely a couple of million, because there's already a million up the river. So they're going to be close. All right, that's it. It's Lumpy with Fool's Paradise Fishing. Remember, they call it fishing, not catching, for a reason, and we'll see you on the river. Ugh.